Hello, welcome. Oh, good morning. Welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. It's morning somewhere. This is the morning dump. This is, what is it, April 28th, Tuesday. That's what today is. We'll be going through all the things. I'm your host, Jose Galison, and this is the kitty of the day, Katniss. See this pretty little lady? She'll be going home soon. That's why we're limited on dumps this week. I have a bunch of kitties going home. We might do one more Friday, but whatever. We'll talk housekeeping more in the show. If you like seeing my hot takes Monday through Friday, when we actually make all the days, typically around 11 a.m. Eastern, running late today. Hey, one of these days we'll get back in the swing of things. Then, or if you just like seeing the kitty of the day, then be sure that subscribe button and hit that bell for notifications. That way you can see when I go live, when I'm dropping new videos, and you can see new sweet kitties. All right, see you guys in the show.
Beautiful thing, right now.
Rise and shine, it's a beautiful day. I'm alright.
About a third of the building has been blown away.
This is the bridge to white lights.
Our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad.
Crazy evil.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you guys are having a productive morning. I've had an all right one so far today. Got a little workout in, so can't complain. But sorry I'm running late. Sorry, this may be the only dump of the week. We'll see how that ends up playing out. Like I said, I have a bunch of kitties going home. So we might get like one more Friday, but I did try to make up for it. We had a crazy little blowout last night. Let me know what you guys thought of that. If you saw it, we'll probably talk about that in the last segment of the day today. But yeah, we have plenty to go through. We have... As always, we start off the show with some icebreaker type content, fun, funny, gem pop. We have a little bit of a sad story in there that we'll cover as well, but it's worthwhile going through. And then we have the foreign policy side of things. We'll get into our foreign policy roundup, covering the ongoing weekend wars that seem to never end. And then we'll get into another Trump assassination attempt. We had another one of those over the weekend. So plenty to talk about there. There's a lot there. That'll be basically the bulk of the show. And then maybe a little bit, I don't know. Well, who knows? Maybe we'll cut it depending on how long the assassination coverage takes. But I think we should have time for it. We'll probably get a little bit into the Silva Baker Rumble recap at the end. So kind of get into all that, maybe dig into a little bit, putter about in some articles, some sources here and there, clarify a few things, talk about that. So, I don't know, see what you guys' thoughts are too. That might be a little bit more of a crowd interaction type section of it. I'm curious what you guys think. So I don't know, save those comments towards the end, I guess, and we can talk about all that. I do want to remind you guys, I do pop into the chat. This is a live stream. This is chat interactive. I do try to hang out with you or talk to you guys in between each segment, though. So if you don't like the chat banter, I completely understand. If you're doing this like on a replay or something like that, you don't want to hear the chat banter, completely understandable. I try to keep that towards the end of each segment, and I timestamp the segments. So, but for the chat people, for the dumpers that like to catch it live and want to hang out, I do try to give everybody a good morning. You guys deserve it just for being in the chat. And then after that, you got to catch my interest or catch my wallet. One of these days, we'll get enough good mornings in the chat to where we got to monetize the good mornings, but we're not there yet. But if you do want to catch my interest after, or catch my gaze after that, I guess you got to give a little money. We got super chats you can do, or you can catch my interest. So, But with that, let's get into some of the icebreaker type content. Let's get into all that. We have plenty to go through today. Hope you guys are all having a good morning. Hope you had a good weekend. It's a wild weekend. Another assassination attempt. Just so surreal. But we'll get into all of that. Starting off, we're going to do a little clavicular coverage. By the way, is my audio coming over good? I think something's wrong with my headphones. They're being all screwy. Let me try something real quick. All right, that's a little better. Okay, I don't know. Maybe there's a little liquid in the headphones or something. It was clicking on my end. Want to make sure there's nothing on you guys. Everyone says it sounds great. Cool. I guess it's just my headphones. Just wanted to make sure. But let's pop in every now and then, as we do on the show, to Clavicular. I kind of gave him some ups recently. Looks like maybe he was improving his life. I'm a little bit concerned, perhaps, that that's not the case anymore. But just kind of a poke in on this. I don't watch this guy's show regularly or anything, so this is not an informed opinion. This is the icebreaker portion of the show. Do not take any of this too seriously. But I don't know. I do like to check it on Clavicular occasionally. I feel like I'm in some weird way living through him. Like I want the best for him. I'm a lot of times disappointed with some of his antics. Just feels like this young man you just want to take under the arm and be like, "What are you doing? Come on, let's. How about you do this? How about you do that?" Well, here's him, I guess, driving to Epstein's little island, or Epstein's Island, Little St. James, to supposedly film the stream here. So let's watch. I say supposedly because people do sometimes take these like clavicular clips and like completely lie with the caption just so it goes viral. So who knows? But let's dig into this. Here's him on some boat. Maybe, I don't know. Let's check it out. Hey. All right, well, I guess
how you ladies doing back there? Everyone okay?
All right, well, that gave us zero context whatsoever, but we're just going to assume the captions here are legit. Here's Parapower Mapping, Clonny Pingosh. It says, "Oh, cool, Peter Thiel's Captain Looks Maxer is speedboating his harem of barely legal OnlyFans girls and traffic sex workers to Little St. James to christen the great pedo normalization ritual with a rumble stream blasted out to the disenchanted and brain-rotten tweens of America." And I'm not going to lie, I could totally see that being a move in this influencer era. We get somebody like a Clavicular type, ironically, doing some Little St. James stuff, kind of a la how Fuentes was kind of being with some of the Epstein stuff a while back, which was a little mighty sus. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like to have fun, I like to make jokes. That seemed to, I don't know, kind of take into a detour of, haha, just kidding, but I'm not kidding. Okay. But anyways, so that's of concern, obviously. I want Clavicular to get his shit together. Here's a friend of the show, Radix Verum. I need to get her back on the show sometime soon. It's just Clavicular always seems incredibly sad, even when he's performing Chad and surrounded by fawning retards. He's in the thrall of demons, and I do think we should pray that he comes to Christ. Fortunately, he's now involved with Israeli mafia with his club in Miami, which, yeah, maybe we'll make a segment out of it someday. I've gone down some weird rabbit holes. There does seem to be some weird shit going on with Clavicular. I guess he owns like a club in Miami or some shit now, but that's like what he's saying. But then a lot of people are kind of like, how this dude doesn't own a fucking club? Like, once you like break down the financials of like, it looks like there seems to be some stuff to imply perhaps, I don't know, some shady figures are, for one reason or another, allowing him to say that. I'm not saying he doesn't have a share or something like that. But anyways, it looks like he might be in business with some shady people. So, I don't know. So kind of like an underground Charlie Kirk scenario, I guess. Kind of in the, in the mobster world. So concerned about him. He could, inevitably go the way of Charlie Kirk, the way that he's going, the people that he's dabbling with. So, I don't know. Yeah, if you're a prayer, which I am not, but I guess, solid vibes over to Clavicular, I'd love to take him under my wing. Not that I'm some amazing mentor or something, but I don't know. He does a lot of dumb shit. But all right, let's move on. I guess to kind of prep our coverage of the Trump assassination. Here's Not Sure Gnosis on Twitter. Says, did you hear there was another attempt on Trump's life? It says, gosh, no. What happened this time? It was crazy. Okay, so he's on stage with a Jewish Israeli magician when, by the way, this is legit. That really happens. We'll get into that more later.
Crash, great.
This is why it's so wild that the Tower Gang fell apart when it did, because we have too much content these days. That would have been me and the boys if Tower Gang was still a thing, and that's me on the inside. One more little thing before we, like I said, we're going to do a full-on segment dig into this, but I'm just teasing you guys right now. Just some funnies people have kind of pulled out of this. Apparently, he did the Office Jim face recently in an interview that he was given. Let's just get to straight to the point. Actually, let's go right to the. Let's see right here. He does the look at the camera, the Jim look. Let's look at it through these lenses, and then we'll look at it through a different lens later. So we're looking for the comedy, and then we're going to look for the serious substance. And sometimes there's not a whole lot of daylight between, honestly. But right now we're focusing on the comedy. Let's watch this clip, and once again, we're gonna go into all the information that led to this later. So we are jumping a little ahead of time, but I do got to show you guys. Apparently, there was a Jim moment in some pretty wild, I guess not accusations, but maybe not even implications. But watch, you see what I mean.
The so-called manifesto is a stunning thing to read, Mr. President. He appears to reference a motive in it. He writes this, quote, administration officials, they are targets. And he also wrote this, I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I was waiting for you to read that because I knew you would, because you're horrible people, horrible people. Yeah, he did write that. I'm not a rapist.
Actually, you know what? I think whoever made up this funny, I think it was an inaccurate funny. It would be true. I mean, maybe we'll have to watch it later. I did not see the Jim pause, look at the camera, unless it's in a different portion yet. But that would have been the time I thought that he would have done it. But let's keep an eye out. Maybe he does the Jim moment again. I think this is an inaccurate reporting of funny. Let's watch.
I didn't rape anybody.
Do you think he was referring to you?
Excuse me. I'm not a pedophile. You read that crap from some sick person. I got associated with all stuff that has nothing to do with me. I was totally exonerated. Your friends on the other side of the plate are the ones that were involved with, let's say, Epstein or other things. But I said to myself, I'll do this interview and I read the manifesto. He's a sick person.
Let's watch the first 15 seconds again, because I feel like I must have missed it. What a crazy, inaccurate reporting of funny. I don't think he did the Jim thing. Let's watch it
so-called
again.
manifesto is a
Just
stunning
about the
thing
first
to
20
read,
seconds or so.
Mr. President. He appears to reference a motive in it. He writes this, quote, administration officials, they are targets. And he also wrote this, I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes.
That was it. That's weak. I'm sorry. That's inaccurate. There was a slight looking at the camera for it. I'm sorry. There wasn't enough of a pregnant pause for this to be accurate, funny report. Almost. I mean, it's factual, but not truthful. I'm sorry. I'm embarrassed to have brought it's such inaccurate reporting. This is not a funny. I'm sorry. I thought there may have been a humorous moment where he paused, looked at the camera, and almost a meta display of acknowledging, hey, the Kabbalah magic that is occurring right now. But no, that did not occur. That is just the musings of a schizophrenic trying to make something be funny. And hey, I guess props to them. They probably made fucking $500 off that post with almost 30,000 likes. So I guess big ups. Maybe I should start lying. It seems to pay off. Moving on. Here's some TMZ reporting, which I thought this isn't funny. This isn't even fun. But it just feels appropriate to cover this, and there's the icebreaker type stuff. This is, I don't know, I hope to see more of this. This is TMZ, and I'll just let it speak for itself because I just find it interesting. Only TMZ would be able to ask such a question to people in power. I just find it anyways, check it out. I really think it's. I'm interested to see where TMZ goes, since I guess now they're kind of part of the press corps, and this is something that kind of gets looked down on as like smut. And I've talked lots of shit, particularly about Harvey Levin and some of these other people. I did so a while ago, but coming where they're coming from, more of a tabloid type thing, and given our current era of the media paradigm, I think this could be interesting. So let's watch this.
And would encourage other countries to be a part of such an effort as well. But we're tracking that very closely. Mr. Chairman, do you want to add anything to that?
No, sir. I think you covered it.
Right here, new members of our press corps here.
Jacob Wasserman with TMZ DC. We have two questions. I'm going to ask the first. My colleague will ask the second. You know, I've heard you talk a lot about bombing.
We'll see.
Sorry?
We'll see.
Okay. I've heard you talk a lot about bombing people and places. And when you give these orders to carry out this extreme level of violence, what's going through your mind and your body? Do you have like an adrenaline rush? Are you scared? Do you feel like you're on a power trip? Just walk us through and paint us a picture of what it feels like mentally and physically.
It's a very TMZ question. My only thought process is to ensure that our warfighters have everything they need to be successful, defeat and destroy the enemy, and they come home. I want them to feel empowered, to have every authority they need within our rules and within our law to bring maximum violence to the enemy. Because war is violent, war requires doing difficult things, but I want our people to feel empowered, so it's our guys that come home and their guys that do not.
All right, I just thought that was particularly interesting. I know TMZ's been making some minor waves here and there, and their particular style of interviewing, I look forward to seeing where this is going. And I just thought, I don't know, there's something to like dismissing this, oh, this is a very TMZ question, but I don't know, it's kind of a human question. Like, this guy does on the daily say some crazy shit about straight up murdering people, which we're going to go into all the stuff that the entity over which he is controlling or, I don't know, has a responsibility over to some degree is murdering like crazy. And he seems to be rolling in it like a pig in shit. So, I mean, it's a kind of a fair question. Like, how do you handle this as a human? One of those things would be hard to sleep at night. But moving on, last thing, like I said, there's going to be a little bit of a sad one, but I just did want to kind of put I don't even know what the, I guess just to kind of say, hey, ups to this guy. Here's Top Lobster. He posted, Tyler Jennings, a fan of my show, tragically passed away yesterday. His family is struggling to get money together for funeral and burial. If you find in your heart to help, I would greatly appreciate it. Prayers are accepted as well. So there's a GoFundMe for this, but the significance, I mean, I guess not significant. This is the only thing that makes his life significant. But, I mean, he is kind of part of the community. He was at T4Truth21 on Twitter. He followed Top. He followed me. I believe I saw people saying he followed Tower Gang. I think he was some sort of Tower Gang regular is what I've collected. I wish I could say I knew more about this guy. I mean, maybe someone can figure out what his username was if he was a regular in Tower Gang. I feel like I may recall, but I'm just sad. Just sad to see this. But I mean, if someone does want to help, I mean, this is somebody, I guess, from our weird hodgepodge community we've sort of put together here. I know we've kind of all scattered to the winds and gone our own ways, but I think anyone that is drawn to especially kind of all of these like he seems like he was fans of kind of, I don't know to what degree he liked like whatever different shows he did, but he likes Tops. He was following all of us, so he seemed to be really immersed in whatever this weird little bubble we sort of created, which I guess is kind of popped, sort of, but not really. It's still here in my heart. So I just wanted to say, I mean, I don't even know what to say. Just like, hey, appreciate the good times that you had with us. There were a lot of good times. Here is it looks like they've got a decent amount raised, so that's cool. It's GoFundMe.com. I think you can just search in loving memory of Tyler Jennings. I don't think I need to read you the URL here, but so if you guys do want to contribute, that's where that's at. Just real bummer. I don't know the specifics of anything here. It doesn't really say anything, and it just devoted husband and wonderful father, deeply loved his family and God. On April 21st, a week ago, he passed away, leaving behind a family loved him beyond words. We are raising funds to help with funeral expenses and to honor his life and memory. Any support, whether through donations, prayers, or sharing this page, is deeply appreciated. Thank you for keeping our family in your thoughts during this time. So real bummer. Now I haven't verified any of this, but to make sure like this is legit. So, but I mean, it does seem big enough that it would be kind of wild if this is some sort of scam at this point. Just to throw that out there. But real bummer. Hate to see it. Another one. I don't know. Hold your loved ones tight. I don't really know what to make of that. I guess I just wanted to make mention of it. If someone does want to contribute. Just to acknowledge, like, hey, this is probably someone I've had good times with, so it's a real bummer. But with that, let's roll in the chat real quick, and then we'll get into some foreign policy, and then we'll get into the first segment of the day, cover some of this Trump assassination stuff. Let's roll through the chat, say some good mornings. Like I said before, if you don't want to if you don't want to catch the chat banter, and you're catching this on the replay, just go down to the timestamps and click it if the hyperlink is available. Or just fast forward right ahead. Good morning, LTD. Are you ready for some morning dump? Good morning, King David, saying hit that like button. Hype the shit and sub if you haven't. Jose grows every time you do. Yes, my wiener grows a full centimeter for every sub I get. I struggle to get out of the house at this point. Good morning, Northside. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Fire Pixie. Good morning, Bug Fights. Good morning. Good morning. What was that? Derp with Kerp. Good morning, good morning. Tom says, wasn't expecting a dump today. Well, you get one, buddy. Good morning to you. Fire Pixies last night was weird. Yes, it was. Good morning, Bug Fights. Good morning, Hotep. Says, I saw a video of the Freemason initiation that was exactly like the Grays of the Ear assassination attempt. I feel like I've seen that floating about before. I've never really looked into that one, though. So, interesting enough. Good morning, Andrew Dolgan. Good morning. Good morning. Clavicular will not truly prove until he gets off the internet and stops going by the name Clavicular. Unfortunately, probably. Pretty sure he's just revisiting Epstein Island. Good comment. Good morning, OG Matzo Balls. Good morning, probably his childhood home. You guys got jokes. You guys got jokes. Let me see what else we got. Good morning, Ray and Cap. Ray. Good morning. Good morning. I got commentary. Not really a Jim Halpert face, just a look directly at the camera as she says raper. But even then, it wasn't really enough of a delay. It wasn't a Jim thing. So, false reports of funny are a felony. They sure are. What else we got? Good morning, Daz. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, JC. Good morning, Neil. Good morning. Good morning, Scott. Good morning. Good morning, Retardo Genio. Good morning. Good morning. All right, we're all caught up. I think I said good morning to you already, Northside, but we're all caught up. Let's get into some foreign policy. For the first time in a while, this isn't a main segment of the show, like a titled segment. So I guess we aren't completely falling apart, but once again, it seems we're in a bit of a staying pattern. So here's the current back and forth between the world powers as of the 26th, because we got yesterday and today to cover. So here is over at the Institute. If they want to talk, they can call us. Trump says future talks with Iran can happen over the phone. This is from Kyle Anzalone. Pulled this from antiwar.com, though, because for those who aren't aware, go over to antiwar.com, and then it just gives you all the different, basically all the foreign policy news of the day. Yeah. And they pull from different sites, so it's not all just from anti-war. They do their own reporting, but they also are pulling from other publications as well. I think they have some sort of agreements or whatever. But anyways, this is pulled. They pull a lot from the Libertarian Institute. So and I think Kyle Anzalone even writes for anti-war a lot. As Donald Trump said that he was cutting an engagement in the Pakistani hosted talks with Iran. If they want to talk, they can come to us or they can call us. There's a telephone. We have nice, secure lines. They know what has to be in the agreement. It's very simple. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. Otherwise, there's no reason to meet. While the White House has issued a myriad of demands to Tehran in recent days, the president has focused on Iran's nuclear demands. Before the U.S. and Israeli war in Iran, Tehran ran a civilian nuclear program. Iran has the capability to enrich uranium and so far has limited the program to producing nuclear fuel and medication. The Trump administration has attempted to redefine nuclear enrichment as part of a weapons program without civilian purposes. Multiple countries have enrichment programs with nuclear weapons. Tehran maintains it will agree to restrictions and inspections on its nuclear program to ensure that it is only used for civilian programs. However, Iran asserts that its enrichment program is key to its sovereignty and will not agree to halt operations for an extended period of time. So, and then more on this back and forth quibbling. Now we have the Iran president says no talks without end to U.S. naval blockade, which we've been covering the ins and outs of all this, which we had the blockade that, just to be petty, it seems like we threw in. And Iran said for a while they're willing to basically come back to the table, but we just need to stop the blockade. And Trump goes, no. And then Iran's just kind of like, okay. So that's kind of where we are now. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian said on 26 April, there can be no negotiations with the U.S. until Washington lifts its illegal blockade on the country's ports, making the remarks during a phone call with Pakistan's prime minister. More on that. And then we have the State Department saying the U.S. is in conflict with Iran at the request of Israel. This is from Dave DeCamp over at Anti-War. So the State Department said in a statement last week the U.S. is in conflict with Iran at the request of Israel, an acknowledgement of Israel's role in steering the U.S. into the war, which the U.S. has dubbed Operation Epic Fury. So they're just admitting it now. The statement was issued by the State Department's legal advisor. Sorry, I should be more mature here, but Reed D. Rubenstein, who attempted to provide a legal justification for the war. As the United States has explained in multiple letters to the UN Security Council, including most recently on March 10th, the United States is engaged in this conflict at the request of and in the collective self-defense of its Israeli ally. That's the leading reason there. And then, as well as in the exercise of the United States' own inherent right of self-defense, Rubenstein said, which I don't know how you could in any way frame this as self-defense, but okay. Especially for the United States. At least there's some cockamamie sort of vaguely close to something of reasonable. Well, you're kind of in the region of Iran. I guess it makes sense you make some sort of claim of self-defense. The term collective self-defense was likely used to echo Article 51 of the UN Charter, which states that nothing in the Charter shall impair the inherent right of individual or collective self-defense if an armed attack occurs against a member of the United Nations. But the U.S. does not have a mutual defense treaty with Israel. It is not bound by U.S. law to defend the country. The U.S. and Israel were also the first to attack Iran, underclaiming the U.S. claim of self-defense. Secretary of State Marco Rubio had previously said the U.S. launched the war because Israel was planning to attack and that Iran's retaliation could have involved attacks on U.S. bases. Rubenstein repeated the argument made by the White House that the U.S. has been in an ongoing conflict with Iran over the decades, which is based on claims that attacks by Iran-allied factions on U.S. troops in the Middle East were part of an Iranian war against the U.S., the argument that omits the U.S.'s history of backing forces against Iran, such as the U.S. supporting Saddam Hussein in the Iran-Iraq War of the 1980s. Moving on, we got Iran says nearly half of Iranians killed by U.S.-Israeli bombing campaign were civilians. And unfortunately, I'm not too surprised. An Iranian official said on Sunday that nearly half the Iranians killed by the U.S.-Israeli bombing campaign that lasted from February 28th to April 8th were civilians, as strikes pounded civilian targets throughout the war. According to Tehran Times, Jamshid Nazmi, an advisor of Iran's Foundation of Martyrs and Veterans Affairs, said that at least 3,468 were killed by the U.S.-Israeli strikes. He said that 1,460 of the victims were identified as civilians, so that's somewhere between 40 and 50%. Far more than is acceptable. But I mean, hey, we're doing this all for Israel, kind of slowly becoming Israel. We've been paying attention to what they've been doing to Gaza and Lebanon, which our behavior towards their actions in Lebanon, and especially in relation to this whole debacle with Iran, it's just kind of like a tacit approval a little bit of all of their horrors. And this is kind of what we've descended into, becoming just like them. And kind of on that note, we have the German Chancellor Merz. So it's just not me saying this. This is we have the international hoity-toity elite saying this as well. It says Iran is humiliating the U.S. And keep in mind, these are the sort of people who generally kind of fall in line, especially when it comes to the questions like this. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said that Iran has humiliated the U.S. during the negotiation process. The U.S. and Iran have held a round of talks and exchanged messages through Pakistan, but have been unable to reach an agreement. The Iranians are obviously very skilled at negotiating, or rather, very skillful at not negotiating, letting the Americans travel to Islamabad and then leave again without any result. An entire nation is being humiliated by the Iranian leadership, especially by the so-called Revolutionary Guards. And so I hope that this ends as quickly as possible. And I agree. I hope this comes to an end. I hope the ceasefire, maybe we somehow rein in Israel, we stop this blockade, all of that would be phenomenal. But kind of on this note of embarrassments or humiliations, here's more embarrassing nonsense from the Commander-in-Chief. I know what did we cut? We covered, I think, the last dump. We covered I forget how many girls. It was like 8 women who supposedly were going to be executed the following day. And then Trump said, oh, please, fearless leaders, don't do this or whatever. And I'll see this as a sign of good faith for our negotiations. And then he quote tweeted himself later and was like, whoa, now they aren't getting killed. Then come to find out, you're like, yeah, that was all completely and utterly fucking bullshit. Well, I just think that's relevant in regards to this most recent Truth Social. Keep in mind the Trump diplomacy on the world stage has a lot of times been completely and utterly bullshit, especially in the past 6 months or so. But here's his latest Truth Social. This Iran has just informed us that they are in a state of collapse. They want to open the Hormuz Strait as soon as possible as they try to figure out their leadership situation, which I believe they will be able to do. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So this is whoever Iran is in this situation, which, there's been reports that there's certain, he's kind of made similar claims to this in the past, and there's been reports out here and there that it might be this person or that person, and pretty much any person of any note in Iran's leadership has come out and were like, fuck you, no. So I think he's just completely and utterly full of shit. But supposedly somebody in Iran is telling him he's still feeding this lie that they're completely, the leadership's all in disarray. They're trying to figure it out. Seems more like more stalling tactics. Hopefully something comes of all of this. Moving on over the Pacific Ocean, murder on the high seas once again. We got a boat strike, killing 3 in the Eastern Pacific. It's another supposed drug running boat, of which obviously they provided no evidence once again, aside from a grainy little... actually, this one's a little more clear, a little snuff video. Okay, you guys want to watch some murder with me? Yay! Murder with our tax dollars. Isn't that great? Because maybe they might have drugs, which... By the way, I think one of the recent ones, there were claims that I guess one of these drug boats ended up actually being carrying marijuana or something, which, yeah, I guess still a drug, but even makes it even more ridiculous, the idea of you're just going to murder these people, but whatever. Almost no point even going into the theory on this. It's just plain and simple retarded. I really still I don't know how anyone could be in support of this. This is just ridiculous. Now moving on over to Israel, new evacuations orders in southern Lebanon as Israel escalates ceasefire strikes. Not looking good. While the ceasefire that was extended last week in Lebanon continues to inexplicably be presented as holding, Netanyahu ordered substantial escalation in Israeli military action in Lebanon's south, and the amount of strikes seems to be growing substantially over the weekend. At least 14 have been confirmed killed over the weekend in Israeli strikes, and at least 37 others wounded, while Israel had largely confined its military operations during the ceasefire to the area south of the newly established Yellow Line. Israel Sunday began ordering evacuations of 7 municipalities north of the Litani River, and already those areas are coming under Israeli attack. The casualties continue to include Israel attacking seemingly anybody who was on a vehicle anywhere south of the Litany, but also include a number of people wounded in Israeli airstrikes in a cafe in Kfar Tebnit, and general attacks on what it purports to be Hezbollah infrastructure. Netanyahu insisted, of course, that this was because Hezbollah was trying to undermine the ceasefire with violations, while Hezbollah presented their own rocket fire against northern Israel as retaliation for Israeli violations of the ceasefire. So moving on, this is the following day reporting on Lebanon. So this is from last night. Israeli strikes escalate with attacks reported in southern, eastern Lebanon. So this is a continuation. So one day after Israeli attacks killed 14 in Lebanon, the narrative of the ceasefire being intact seems less and less credible, with reports of continued escalation against southern Lebanon. Keep in mind, for those who have forgotten, there's a ceasefire here, right? With reports of continued escalation against southern Lebanon and new rounds of Israeli strikes reported in the Bekaa Valley to the east. Strikes were reported against the towns of Kafara and Kalea in southern Lebanon, with one civilian reported killed so far in the attack and multiple others wounded. Locals reported the continued destruction of residential areas across Israeli-occupied south. Bekaa Valley hadn't seen an Israeli strike in nearly 3 weeks, but the town of Nabishit, a popular target for the IDF in the past, reportedly came under fire in what the IDF said was an attack on Hezbollah infrastructure. The IDF further claimed its troops had taken over and destroyed Hezbollah headquarters in Bint Jabil, a village in the south that the two sides had fought over weeks prior. Though destruction is ongoing in that village, as with everywhere else in southern Lebanon, it's not clear if Hezbollah lost the site of any strategic import. Since the ceasefire began, the UNIFIL peacekeepers have recorded 299 distinct incidents of Israeli fire against Lebanon originating from south of the Blue Line border. This was separate from the ongoing fighting between Israeli troops inside Lebanon and Hezbollah forces. Hezbollah, for its part, reported that they had targeted Israeli troops in the area around the coastal Lebanese town of Nakura. This reportedly involved launching drones against gatherings of Israeli forces in the areas and claimed confirmed hits. Israeli insisted there were no casualties. Hezbollah also reported targeting Israeli military bulldozer in the Bint Jabil area, also claiming a direct hit there. There has been no reporting on what damage, if any, was inflicted on the bulldozer, one of many that's in Lebanon, actively leveling the buffer zone south of the Yellow Line. And the last bit we have, just the continual murder over in Palestine. And we just we just laid out something like, I think it was at least 15 we just mentioned in the past 4 days, under this supposed ceasefire in Lebanon. Well, Gaza is another place that has a supposed ceasefire, and they've killed 19 Palestinians in the past 3 days. So constant ceasefire violations. Israeli attacks in Gaza killed at least 19 Palestinians and wounded 43 over the past 3 days, according to Gaza's health ministry, as the IDF continues its constant violations of the U.S.-backed ceasefire. Israeli attacks have also significantly increased in Gaza since the U.S. and Israel halted attacks on Iran under a very fragile ceasefire. The UN reported last week that its partners on the ground in Gaza recorded a 46% increase in Israeli attacks from April 12th to April 18th. Gaza's health ministry said on Saturday the IDF attacks killed at least 17 Palestinians and wounded 32 over the previous 48 hours. On Sunday, the ministry said it recorded the killing of 2 Palestinians and injury of 11 over the previous 24 hours, figures that are based on the number of dead and wounded Palestinians who arrive at hospitals and morgues. Among the victims of the attacks was Islam Karsu, a woman who was pregnant with twins and was killed on Friday alongside her 2 young children. So she had 2 little kids that died with her, and then 2 other little kids that died inside of her. So that's 5 murders. A number of victims are still under the rubble and in the streets, as ambulance and civil defense crews have been unable to reach them so far, the ministry wrote in Telegram. It said that since the so-called ceasefire was signed in early October, Israeli attacks have killed at least 811 Palestinians and wounded 2,278. Quite the ceasefire, huh? Israeli attacks continue on Sunday, with Al Jazeera reporting that at least 4 Palestinians were killed throughout the day. A woman was reported killed in Khan Yunis, southern Gaza. 1 Palestinian killed in the central part of the Strip, and 2 people were killed by Israeli gunfire and shelling in Gaza City. IDF troops in Gaza have also continued to expand the so-called Yellow Line, which divides the IDF-occupied side of the Strip from the rest of the Palestinian territory. When the ceasefire deal was first signed, the IDF was controlling 53% of Gaza, but by the end of December, Israeli troops were occupying at least 58%. All right, that's all we got for foreign policy for today. Let's roll in the chat, say some more good mornings, and then we'll get into the assassination stuff. So let's check in on you beautiful people, see if we got any more good mornings, anything interesting in the chat. Good morning, Mr. Murray. Says we are not the rogue government would try to shed those linguistic traps. You're correct. It is something I should work on more. Is try not to say we, but it is hard. Yeah. You are correct in that. Yeah, we should try to lay off the we when referring to the government, because at one point that was we, but definitely feels a whole lot better in the conscience no longer being a party to such murder. So don't work for the government, people. It's not a good entity. Generally, kind of evil. Good morning, Free Alley. Good morning. Good morning. All right, let's get right into this. Let's get into this. Another Trump assassination attempt? Oh, question mark! Exclamation point! They keep coming. As I commented, my first thought, when it's funny enough, we had Ken on last night. But my first thought when I saw all of this go down is they're just never going to let not JD Cash, but Ken Silva finish his book. For those unaware, Ken has been working on a book for a while of all the different Trump assassination attempts and all around that, particularly kind of, I would say, probably swirling primarily around Butler, but I mean, they keep coming. So, I mean, this book keeps probably changing form. So he keeps writing and they're just never going to let him finish it. It's not going to be written until J.D. Vance is in office, like 8 years from now or something. It's because they're just going to keep trying to do this Israeli Kabbalah magic that they're doing or whatever. Okay, I'm being a little silly. I don't know. This could be legit, but I can't deny that a lot of feelers go up with what the fuck is going on here. Now I'll show you kind of how this is initially presented online. How most people were initially kind of shown this specific clip. And let's play this clip. This is kind of how most people kind of, scrolling through Twitter or whatever given social media were like, whoa, they saw this specific clip here. For the audio people, it's Trump sitting at a table. There's some sort of mentalist / magician, which we'll get a little bit more into him, doing some sort of trick, something written on a card or something or other. There's a table. Trump's at it. Melania's at it. I think that's Carolyn Leavitt on the left. And maybe that's Kai Trump? I don't know, some younger girl. I don't know who that is, but a little bit irrelevant. But let's just watch this clip so you can kind of just take it in how a lot of us took it in. If you haven't already, probably everyone already knows about this. Like, I picked my wife up from work and she's like, do you think it was real? And like, she's not even really, she's a normie. Like, she doesn't pay attention to this shit. Like, that's my gauge of when you're like, oh, this has entered the zeitgeist. Like, normies out there are like, I think this is bullshit. So anyways, let's watch this clip just to kind of set the stage. So not that there's anything particularly crazy substantive. You can see there's some sort of magic trick. The looks on their faces, a lot of people have made a lot to do about. I will admit, a little fishy, but let's watch. I think we just heard boom, boom, boom. It sounded like the gunshots, but let's keep going. All right, let's go back. We'll mute it a little bit. Actually, no, let's just turn the volume down a little bit. I kind of want to watch their faces again. Maybe we'll just go to slow-mo together. See, showing them some card, something. I don't know if that's whoever the young girl is over on the right. She looks shocked. Trump and Melania both kind of chill. Flips a card. And then look a face. There's another angle where you really see Melania's face, and she looks almost like horrified. And a lot of people made it some sort of like as if, what did they show him here? What does this mean? I don't know. Maybe we'll have more come out later in the specific magic trick that was being done or whatever. It was that moment. So it did kind of seem like almost like a story. Like if you wrote it in a story, like it'd be like at that moment, there'd be some big reveal and that'd be like, oh my God, there's a shooter in the building. Like, so it does seem a little dramatic. So a lot of people have made a lot out of that. Now that guy is sketchy, which I don't know if I have any little bits for him up, but I guess I'm just gonna let you guys know. This guy is the same mentalist that a lot of people you may have seen in like viral, Twitter posts or something. I guess he went on Rogan a while back. A lot of people have pointed out his appearance as like the real moment where like, if he wasn't compromised, if Rogan wasn't already compromised the moment he got compromised. And what they mean by that is he's a mentalist. His whole thing is like, it's basically kind of magic, but like, oh, the idea is there's some mental trick to whatever. But he literally read off his like, was like his ATM pin or something, which just, I think it was like, I don't remember the specifics if there was anything that like gave him the hint there, but it was one of those moments where you're like, dude, what the fuck? And then here is the same guy. He's also, not that it's relevant at all, but he's also a literal Jewish Israeli. So he is, I don't know if he's a dual citizen, but he is Israeli. He's a Jew. So kind of relevant, maybe. Hey, they're well known for their magic. So that's that guy. So that does throw little feelers up there. So I totally get why people were like, what the fuck? Here's drop sites as breaking: a shooter reportedly opened fire in the lobby of Washington Hilton during the White House Correspondents' Dinner tonight, April 25th. The gunman fired several shots in the hotel lobby and was subsequently shot dead by security forces. Now, that was early reporting. That's according to TMZ, which is kind of, I think that will be a point of what the fuck later. Probably not so much today, but maybe in later reporting, weeks to come. What the hell happened there? But there was initial reporting that he's dead. I don't think that's the case, but we'll get more into that. I don't even think he's harmed. Donald Trump, our first lady, and other top administration officials were immediately rushed out of the ballroom by the Secret Service. There are currently no reported injuries among the dinner guests or officials. Guests, including hundreds of journalists and celebrities, were ordered to take cover under tables as heavily armed guards swarmed the stage. Despite skipping the dinner during his entire first term and his first year of the second, Trump returned as both guests of honor and keynote speaker. So that's, a lot of people have pointed out that's weird. Like, hey, he hasn't even been going to these, and now he goes to them, and this happens. Also, there's usually a roasting here, and it says instead of a traditional roasting by a comedian, the event was set to feature Oz Perlman, an Israeli mentalist who performs mind-reading demonstrations, which, I mean, I don't, not to maybe put too much significance on all of this, but a lot of people do like to point out that it was actually one of these White House Correspondents' dinners. If I'm recalling correctly, maybe I'm a little bit off here, but, you know, they mentioned the typical roasting they had here by a comedian. And I think usually if I recall correctly, they usually have some of the politicians will kind of, you know, do some ribbings. I think it was Obama, if I recall correctly, right? It wasn't like a comedian, but I believe it was Obama at one of these dinners that I don't remember what the specific joke was. It wasn't even really that funny. It was something like, "Well, you'll never be, good thing you'll never be president." I can't do a good Obama, but good thing you'll never be president or whatever. It was something petty, and a lot of people kind of have pointed to that to be some sort of big moment where Trump kind of like, you know, fucking eye the tiger in his head, like, bitch, I'm going to be president. Fuck you. And so I don't know. I don't think he didn't go to any of these during his, and finally when he comes back to it, it's almost like if you do want to say some sort of Israeli Kabbalah magic here happened here, I don't know. That could be some full circle type stuff right there. So, okay. Moving on. Let's get into the AP. They wrote a piece on this. So let's get a little bit more into the details, some of the specifics. So the man accused of opening fire at the White House Correspondents' Association dinner railed against Trump administration policies and referred to himself as a friendly federal assassin in writing sent to family members minutes before an attack that authorities increasingly believe was politically motivated, according to a message reviewed by the AP. The writings, sent shortly before shots were fired Saturday night at the Washington Hilton, made repeated references to Trump without naming him directly and alluded to grievances over a range of administration actions, including the U.S. strikes on boats accused of smuggling drugs in the Eastern Pacific Ocean. Investigators are treating the writings, along with a trail of social media posts and interviews with family members, as some of the clearest evidence yet of the suspect's mindset and possible motives. Authorities uncovered what one law enforcement official described as numerous anti-Trump social media posts linked to the suspect, Cole Thomas Allen, a 31-year-old California man accused of trying to breach a security point at the dinner while armed with multiple guns and knives. Allen's brother contacted police in New London, Connecticut after receiving the writings, according to the law enforcement official, who was not authorized to discuss the ongoing investigation and spoke of condition of anonymity. The New London Police Department said in a statement it was contacted at 10:49 p.m., about 2 hours after the shooting, by an individual who wanted to share information related to it. The police department said it then immediately notified federal law enforcement. Alan's sister, who lives in Maryland, told investigators her brother had legally purchased several weapons from a California gun store and kept them at their parents' home in Torrance without their knowledge, according to the official. She described her brother as prone to making radical statements, the official said. Now, that's fishy. I don't know the California gun rules, but I don't know, whatever. The idea that he could get some sort of... I don't know what gun he used or anything like that, but the idea that he, got guns for this from a California gun store, that just seems fishy. But I don't know, whatever. Because I think... and maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but I believe that the story that we're going to do is they, took it apart and put it back. I don't know, whatever. I guess in my head, I've never bought a gun in Cali, and I just imagine they're all fucking nerfed to some ridiculous degree that you can't do a goddamn thing with them. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I guess that is pretty simple. You don't need anything too fancy. You probably get something like that from Cali. I just imagine they all have crazy safety features. They're basically like modern cars where you can't do a goddamn thing. But maybe Cali is not quite there yet. So maybe I'm inserting a little bit too much of my anti-Cali bias there. Maybe it's not that unusual. The writings examined by the AP ran more than 1,000 words and read as a rambling, deeply personal message, openly almost jarring with a casual, hello, everybody, before shifting into apologies to family members, co-workers, and even strangers he feared could be caught in the violence. The note moved between confession, grievance, and farewell, with Alan thanking people in his life, even as he sought to explain the attack. Elsewhere, he veered between political anger, religious justification, and rebuttals to imagined critics. He also made a taunting critique of security at the Washington Hilton, mocking what he described as lax precautions and expressing surprise he was able to enter the hotel armed without detection. The AP limits the use of attackers' writings and social media posts to avoid amplifying their views or encouraging copycat actions. Don't worry, we're going to read it in a minute. The AP chooses to summarize their words and focus mainly on the victims' investigations. Apparently illegally bought a .38 caliber semi-automatic pistol in October 2023 and a 12-gauge shotgun 2 years later, according to a law enforcement official and another one who also spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss the ongoing investigation. Allen is believed to have traveled by train from California to Chicago and then on to Washington, where he checked himself in as a guest at the hotel where the gala dinner was held with typically tight security, said Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. He is believed to have acted alone and set to face criminal charges Monday. So yesterday, okay. Authorities say Allen attempted charge toward the cavernous ballroom at the Washington Hilton, but was tackled to the ground in a violent scene that resulted in shots being fired, Trump being hurried off the stage unharmed, and guests ducking for cover beneath their tables. It does appear that he in fact set out to target folks who work in the administration, likely including the president, Blanche told NBC's Meet the Press. Social media posts that appear to match the suspect show he's a highly educated tutor and amateur video game developer. May 2025 profile photo of Allen appears to match the appearance of the man in a photo of the alleged attacker being taken into custody that was posted Saturday night by Trump. The photo, posted to the social networking site LinkedIn, shows him in a cap and gown after graduating with a master's degree in computer science from California State University, Dominguez Hills. He earned a bachelor's degree in 2017 in mechanical engineering from the California Institute of Technology in Pasadena. He lists his involvement there in a Christian student fellowship and a campus group that battled with Nerf guns. A local NBC station in LA included an interview with Allen during his senior year of college as part of a story about new technologies to help people as they age. He developed a prototype for a new type of emergency brake for wheelchairs. Well, I actually have this. Let's watch that real quick. I feel like we can. Let's watch this right here. Here is the clip so we can get a little bit better look at him. I will say after watching this, a lot of people have kind of posited that perhaps this guy was just some smart guy who kind of went full schizo, and not some sort of. I mean, I'm open. Don't get me wrong. I'm totally open to op. I'm beyond open to op. Haven't seen anything necessarily to suggest it other than vibes at this current point. But I will say after watching this video, I do get he could have just been some guy who just legitimately believed the shit that we're about to go through. So, which I will say I think isn't, to be very clear, I think it's unfortunate. Political violence is bad, but I do think Trump's probably a pedophile. But anyways, let's see this guy. Just get a look at the guy. Cole Allen. Here's a video of him at Caltech and ABC. Let's watch this from way back when.
Cole Allen developed a prototype for a wheelchair emergency brake.
The wheelchair brakes tend to lock the wheels, but don't actually lock the chair to the ground. The idea with this is to prevent it from moving at all.
Recent Aging into the Future conference held by St. Barnabas Senior Services and the Eisner Foundation offered a test run on products that have the potential to enrich the lives of seniors. 14 different tech startups got to present to over 350 people in the hopes of getting their projects into some sort of senior health facilities.
So that was a little clip. Here he is. So you just gotta get a look at him. Here he is. Kind of a little soft spoken. Kind of comes off as a little bit of a, I don't know, kind of like the Dragon Ball Z type of black dude. You know what I mean? Like the smart Dragon Ball Z type of black dude. That's the kind of guy. The dude who like probably was like Naruto running in like in like 7th grade on recess. Like that. Does 7th grade still have recess? I don't even know, but. That's the vibes I get from this guy, but good. I do get the impression, just your initial vibes, probably some sort of good heart, probably coming from a good place. I think he's misguided. I think political violence is feeding into the cycle, unfortunately, that you are actually trying to fight. But let's get back to this piece. They just mentioned this thing. So figured we take a second to show you what you look like. We'll come back to the manifesto here in a little bit. Allen contributed $25 to a Democratic Party political action committee in support of Kamala Harris for president in 2024, according to federal campaign finance records. The shooting of security barricades happened minutes after the event got underway. The Secret Service and other authorities swarmed the room as guests ducked under tables by the hundreds. Gasps echoed through the ballroom as guests realized something was happening. Hundreds of journalists immediately got on phones to call in info. "Out of the way, sir," someone yelled. Others yelled to duck. From one corner, a "God Bless America" chant began as the president was escorted off stage. I mean, it's that kind of shit right there where people are like, this is fake. But I don't know. Maybe there was some boomer in the crowd that just really did feel possessed by the spirit of 1776 or whatever. Outside the hotel, members of the National Guard and other authorities flooded the area as helicopters circled overhead. After initial attempt to resume the event, it was scrapped for the night and will be rescheduled. Trump was unusually conciliatory after what he saw as a third attempt in his life in less than 2 years. He suggested that his personal politics had made him a repeated target, but he also called for unity and bipartisan healing in an increasingly violent world. It's always shocking when something like this happens. Happened to me a little bit, and that never changes, Trump told reporters in a hastily organized news conference in the White House late Sunday. So that was the AP, kind of shortly after. Let's dig through more. Here's the manifesto. All right, I'm going to read the manifesto because I don't know. I'm not concerned about whatever they're concerned about. We're just going to read it. I think it's worthwhile. Here's Mario in the fall. It says the full manifesto of WHCD gunman Cole Allen has been obtained by the New York Post. Key takeaways is a 31-year-old Cali teacher described himself as half black, half white. He sent the 1,052-word document to family 10 minutes before the attack. Targeted Trump administration officials by rank. Explicitly excluded Kash Patel, which that is weird. I'll try to make a note of that when we get to that. Use buckshot deliberately to minimize collateral casualties. Okay. Okay, anyways. Described Secret Service security as actually insane and said he walked in with multiple weapons undetected. Can you imagine if we had gotten blog posts from, who was the Vegas guy, the one they pinned it on that's probably a patsy, but it would have been funny if we got the same remarks from him. Anyways, described secret, if I was an Iranian agent instead of an American citizen, I could have brought a Medusa in here and no one would have noticed. Ended the manifesto. It's awful. I want to throw up. Can't really recommend it. Stay in school, kids. Full manifesto. All right, now we're going to read it. This is a manifesto. It's a little bit long, but I don't know, I think it's worth reading. Hello, everybody. So I may have given a lot of people a surprise today. Let me start off by apologizing to everyone whose trust I abused. I apologize to my parents for saying I had an interview without specifying it was for Most Wanted. I apologize to my colleagues and students for saying I had a personal emergency. By the time anyone reads this, I probably most certainly do need to go to the ER, but can hardly call that not a self-inflicted status. I apologize to all the people I traveled next to, all the workers who handled my luggage, and all the other non-targeted people at the hotel who I put in danger simply by being near. I apologize to everyone who was abused and/or murdered before this, to all those who suffered before I was able to attempt this, to all who may still suffer after, regardless of my success or failure. I don't expect forgiveness, but if I could have seen any other way to get this close, I would have taken it. Again, my sincere apologies. On to why I did any of this. I'm a citizen of the United States of America. What my representatives do reflects on me, and I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes. Well, to be completely honest, I was no longer willing a long time ago, but this is the first real opportunity I've had to do something about it. While I'm discussing this, I'll also go over my expected rules of engagement. Probably in a terrible format, but I'm not military, so too bad. Administration officials, not including Mr. Patel, so that's the weird, non-including. So, yeah, I don't know what that meant. I almost, the first time I read that, I hadn't seen someone said it was excluding that. I almost read that as a dig, as if he was saying he was going to get fired or something. Which I don't know. I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't even know what to make of that. It was a weird idea that he wouldn't be, because Patel was there, so I really don't know what to make of that. Says they are maybe he had some weird soft spot for Patel. I don't know. They are targets prioritized from highest ranking to lowest. Secret Service, they are targets only if necessary and to be incapacitated lethally if possible. AKA, I hope they're wearing body armor, because center mass with shotgun messes people up who aren't. Hotel security, not targets if at all possible, and AKA unless they shoot at me. Capitol Police, same as hotel security. National Guard, same as hotel security. Hotel employees, not targets at all. Guests, not targets at all. In order to minimize casualties, I will also be using buckshot rather than slugs. Less penetration through walls. I would still go through most everyone here to get to the targets if it were absolutely necessary, on the basis that most people chose to attend a speech by a pedophile, rapist, and traitor and are thus complicit. But I really hope it doesn't come to that. Rebuttals to objections. Objection 1. As a Christian, you should turn the other cheek. Rebuttal. Turning the other cheek is for when you yourself are oppressed. I'm not the person raped in a detention camp. I'm not the fisherman executed without trial. I'm not a school kid blown up or a child starved or a teenage girl abused by the many criminals in this administration. Turning the other cheek when someone else is oppressed is not Christian behavior. It is complicity in the oppressor's crimes. Objection 2. This is not a convenient time for you to do this. Rebuttal. I need whoever thinks this way to take a couple minutes and realize the world isn't about them. Do you think that when I see someone raped or murdered or abused, I should walk on by because it would be inconvenient for people who aren't the victim? This was the best timing and chance or success I could come up with. Objection 3. You didn't get them all. Rebuttal. Gotta start somewhere. Objection 4. As a half black, half white person, you shouldn't be the one doing this. What? I don't even know what the fuck that means. Maybe he's really into what's it called? The identity, not identity, but the, I forget what it's called, where they're all different identities, arguing amongst each other type politics. Intersectionality, identity politics, I think. But whatever. Maybe that's what he's getting at. Rebuttal. I don't see anyone else pick up the slack. I guess the idea is that he's imagining there's somebody out there saying you should wait till a crippled trans black lesbian whatever. Just okay. I mean, not that I think either of them should do it, but just a weird objection he imagined here. Objection 5. Yield under Caesar's. What is Caesar's? Rebuttal. The United States of America are ruled by law and not by any one or several people. Insofar as representatives and judges do not follow the law, no one is required to yield them anything so unlawfully ordered. I would also like to extend my appreciation to a great many people, since I will not be likely to be able to talk to them again unless the Secret Service is astoundingly incompetent. Thank you to my family, both personal and church, for your love over these 31 years. Thank you to my friends for your companionship over many years. Thank you to my colleagues over many jobs for your positivity and professionalism. Thank you to my students for your enthusiasm and love of learning. Thank you to the many acquaintances I've met in person and online for short interactions and long-term relationships, for your perspectives and inspiration. Thank you all for everything. Sincerely, Cold Force, Friendly Federal Assassin Allen. P.S. Okay, now that all the sappy stuff is done, what the hell is the Secret Service doing? Sorry, gonna rant a bit here and drop the formal tone. Yeah, this part's weird. Very like meta. Like I expected, security cameras at every bend, bugged hotel rooms, armed agents every 10 feet, metal detectors out the wazoo. What I got, who knows, maybe they're pranking me, is nothing. No damn security, not in transport, not in the hotel, not in the event. Like the one thing that I immediately noticed walking the hotel is a sense of arrogance. I walk in with multiple weapons and not a single person there considers the possibility that I could be a threat. The security of the event is all outside, focused on protesters and current arrivals, because apparently no one thought about what happens if someone checks in the day before. Like, this level of incompetence is insane, and I very sincerely hope it's corrected by the time this country gets actual competent leadership again. Don't hold your breath. Like if I was an Iranian agent instead of an American citizen, I could have brought a damn Medusa in here and no one would have noticed shit. Actually insane. Oh, and if anyone is curious, is how doing something like feels. It's awful. I want to throw up. I want to cry for all the things I want to do and never will. For all the people who trust this betrays. I experience rage thinking about everything this administration has done. Can't really recommend it. Stay in school, kids. So this is the New York Post that supposedly reported this. So now I can't say enough. I don't support this, but I get I get somewhat where he's coming from. But I don't think I think you feed the political apparatus when you give it violence because they know how to interact with that. So you're better off. It's the government is one of these entities. I think the only way you really can win is by stop fighting, basically. Well, not stop fighting. I guess that's the wrong way to put it, but stop engaging with it. Like stop voting. I mean, even these sorts of like acts of political violence, like this is almost certainly going to be used against you. But I don't know who. Maybe I'm wrong. Moving on. I did want to make a joke here. I just want to point out here's a little soy jack meme of everybody doing the like pointing behind them. One thing you'll see if you've been on Twitter is everyone going, "Holy fuck! Did you see the heckin' cool? Did you see how heckin' cool the Trump administration was during that shooting?" Well, I can go ahead and let you know we will not be doing that today. I'm not going to be analyzing specific administration officials and going, "Oh wow, this person acted so cool." I'm not even going to do the opposite and be like, "Oh, he acted bad," because that's really gay. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I didn't see anything crazy from the little bits I've seen that was like crazy over the top heroism. A lot of it was like probably stuff you would think you'd do. I mean, if anything, a lot of people pointed out it seemed weird that these people just kind of felt like, I don't know, how do I put this? It felt like, this is where a lot of people think it's fake. It just felt like these were kind of people running through the motions. Now, you never know how you're going to act in situations like that, but point being, it just feels gay to like get in the overanalyzing of like, oh, then Kash Patel did this, or oh, do you see he was kneeling here? Oh, do you see he was like, yeah, I fucking don't like this guy either, but like, I don't know, what is this? Moving on, I mentioned this guy was into Naruto running. Maybe he would have got it. He made quite the little run here, so let's check this out. I believe this is the little dash they referred to in the article that he made. He made a mad dash for it, is my understanding. Obviously, a lot of this is very early reporting. Could be entirely fucking wrong. But here's a little clip of him. I think this is the security camera footage of him dashing by with the 10 cops. I believe this is where they get him. I mean, it's kind of off camera, but I'm sorry, this is grainy, but I just thought it was interesting. Like, he fucking books. Trump did in one of his statements, too, also make a note of that about, like, how, oh, that guy was so fast, or kind of giving him ups. So, I mean, he should have perfected his Naruto run just a little bit better, but I got to be real. Maybe kind of, I mean, at least the start, it's like, what's that with the GIF? Like, he had me in the first half, not going to lie, because he starts out strong here, but obviously he gets subdued after this. But he goes by quite a few Secret Service agents. He just makes a mad dash for it, which is quite the mad lad move there. But let's watch this. Let's do this again. Sorry. It kind of happens real quick. You can see right here. Boom. He just fucking boom.
Shall I post it as soon as he passed on?
18. Go for
So just buy all of them. Look, even he's even doing like an anime run. He hasn't quite got the arms full back, like when they do the anime run and they're like awkwardly like really far forward, like crazy. Like you could, like, it's like the idea that they're going super fast, where they're like they're going so fast their like head is almost over their like toes, like they're leaning so far forward, like this exaggerated run, and then they to like full speed and then their arms go back. Like he was in that. I mean, if he had gotten to full speed and arms back, I don't know. I think he may have. I don't know. I'm trying to think. He might have Ross and gone the fucking president. I couldn't think of any. I would have had to go Dragon Ball Z lore. I don't know. But anyways, moving on. What else do we got? Let's dig a little bit. Here's more from Mario Nafal. Let's see if there's anything more specific in here. We can dig. Long weapon. He assembled it, supposedly. The room had bar carts being stored and no security at the time. There was a witness who said the gun didn't look like a typical gun and was assembled from a bag, which that's not that crazy. I'm no gun expert, but there's plenty of different guns you can take apart and put back together. If anything, most of them really. Gunmen then rushed towards the stairs leading down to the ballroom. No, not all of them are like cleanly, easily broke down. I mean, especially more the modern weapons, though. Typically, that is the case. Open fire in multiple directions. Witness estimates at least 10 shots. A law enforcement officer was struck. What I want to know is like they say he made this like mad dash, but they need a long gun. So you're expecting me to. I mean, like I said, there'd be more that gets cleared up here later, but that just seems confusing to me that he's somehow. Unless the 10 shots, or you know what, I'm retarded. I bet you the 10 shots were actually probably the Secret Service / the event security or whatever. Law enforcement officer was struck. Well, I mean, I'm kind of curious if that was their like a friendly fire thing, because I mean the logistics of him. If they are saying it was that mad dash that he made, I mean. Then it's like that. How the fuck are you gonna? You can't Naruto run and be shooting a long gun at the same time. Those two things just don't go at the same time. And you with like a pistol, but even then, that's kind of wild to be like full on dash and like you're not fucking Keanu Reeves. But anyways, I'm trying to see if there's anything else particularly interesting there. Sorry, a lot of this is pretty. All right, now let's get to some of the statements from some of the people. This is Carolyn Leavitt. Which she made an unfortunate choice of words shortly, early before this, or earlier on in the dinner, before obviously what happened. So let's watch this, and then I think it kind of colors some of her later statements she's going to make as well.
Ready to rumble, is he not?
He is ready to rumble. I will tell you, this speech tonight will be classic Donald J. Trump. It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room. So everyone should tune in. It's going to be really great. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
I love it all. And you wrote most of it, you said.
I can't take credit. In true Donald Trump fashion, the man puts his pen to the paper himself. So it's a lot of his own work.
Okay. Shots will be fired, which perhaps an unfortunate choice of wording. Perhaps. Here's some other perhaps unfortunate choices of wording. So let's watch this. This is over by Fox. Shared to us from Chris Menahan. He's really good with these clips. Let's watch this.
I want to just quickly tell you, I was sitting next to Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary's husband. He was one of our guests. He was seated right next to me, and right as the dinner was starting, the national anthem happened, and then he kind of leaned over and said, I watched you on TV, you did a great job. You need to be very safe. And he was just very serious when he said that to me. And he kind of looked around the room and he said, there are some...
Sounds like we lost Aisha's phone there. And this happens, by the way, especially when you have so many people attempting to utilize the same cell service at the same time. All
right, let's play this one more time.
I want to just quickly tell you, I was sitting next to Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary's husband. He was one of our guests. He was seated right next to me, and right as the dinner was starting, the national anthem happened, and then he kind of leaned over and said, I watched you on TV, you did a great job. You need to be very safe. And he was just very serious when he said that to me. And he kind of looked around the room and he said, there are some...
All right, that's where it cuts off. I wanted to listen to it again just to catch the exact moment. Sorry, but that's a weird one. That's a weird one. Supposedly, Carolyn Leavitt's husband said something along the lines of, you need to be very safe. This is where it cuts off. He was very serious when he said that to me, and he kind of looked around the room and said, there are some, and then the call drops. So convenient timing for the call to drop. And now let's check in on her after the fact. Let's see how Carolyn Leavitt was behaving after the fact. Let's see what she had to say.
The deranged lies and smears against the president, his family, his supporters have led crazy people to believe crazy things, and they are inspired to commit violence because of those words. It has to stop. And one more point. Saturday night served as yet another reminder of how important it is to fund the Department of Homeland Security. It is shameful that the United States Congress has kept this vital agency defunded for 73 days, the longest shutdown of a federal agency in U.S. history.
All right, a little concerning here, particularly the deranged lies and smears against the president, his family, his supporters have led crazy people to believe crazy things. Now, we just read that manifesto a minute ago. I mean, I guess I don't know exactly what everyone in my audience believes, but I mean, I think you guys know a lot about what I believe. And while I may not agree with his actions, his diagnosis of what these people are, I'm pretty damn on board. I gotta be. I don't think there's anything I heard. I mean, me and him are pretty simpatico with the crimes of this administration. So apparently, though, this has led crazy people to believe crazy things. I guess we're all a little crazy here, and they're inspired to commit violence because of those words. It has to stop. Now, that's a little ambiguous, a little concerning. Are you implying that people have to stop saying these things that they believe? What are you saying? But kind of ambiguous. Now, this leaves it a little bit less ambiguous. Let's see what else she had to say. This one is should make your butthole pucker up a little bit.
When you read the manifesto of this shooter, ask yourselves, how different is the rhetoric from this almost assassin than what you read on social media and hear in various forums every single day? The answer, if you're being honest with yourself, is that there is no difference at all. Much of the manifesto of the would-be assassin is indistinguishable from the words that we hear daily from so many. When you read the manifesto of this shooter...
All right, a lot more concerning. Saying this sounds exactly like the sort of stuff you see on X, which, okay, let's keep it moving. Let's see what Attorney General Blanche had to say about this. Let's see. I'm a little concerned. Maybe he'll make me feel a little better. Let's see. Maybe he'll be the calm voice here.
That the political violence and rhetoric has got to stop, and that's something President Trump said right after the incident on Saturday night. It's something that Carolyn Leavitt talked about a couple hours ago. It is something that is, when you have a president who and many people in this room, if we're going to be honest about it, have done it, has done as well. They're just as guilty as a lot of people on X. When you have reporters, when you have media just being overly critical and calling the president horrible names for no reason and without evidence, without proof, it shouldn't surprise us that this type of rhetoric takes place. If you look at what it appears that this defendant had in his past, we're talking about somebody who is college educated, who has a job, who is otherwise living his life, and we'll find out more about him, as I expect, in the coming days and weeks. But he chose to do what he did, and so our threat environment is we are ready. I mean, I'm not going to go through what Director Patel just talked about with the way we responded, but this was something that we will always be prepared for, and it's sad that it has to happen, but it's not a new thing, unfortunately.
It didn't make me feel much better. Let's be real. Now let's check in on who's this guy. This is Mark Levin. One of the let me see, how do I frame this? Kind of one of the go-to guys for Trump. I mean, he's gone his way a lot of times. Trump, I don't know how many True Socials Trump has gone on about, talking about how great Levin is in his show and yada yada. Clearly, this is a source of information for Trump, and if we're trying to see what the message is out there, I think it's worthwhile to check in with somebody like Levin. He's kind of almost like our version of, like, I guess, like an Israel Katz or a Zalel Smotrich or whatever the hell that guy's name is. Over in Israel, kind of like the canary in the coal mine in that dark, perverse way. Like, they're the ones saying the fucked up shit before, like, the fearless leader actually does it. That's what Levin seems to the role he seems to fill. And once again, here he fills it Let's see him talking about going back to the days of woke, of censoring your political enemies. Let's watch this.
First time things like this have happened, but it really is problematic because so much of it is protected. And you hear people say, don't you believe in the First Amendment? They don't even know what the First Amendment believes. Do you want to deplatform people? You know, the libs do that. I don't have any problem with deplatforming Nazis or jihadis. I don't have any problem with deplatforming them. What does that mean, deplatforming them? A government law? No. It means that X or Twitter or Facebook or Amazon with Twitch and so it says, you know what? You're a lowlife. We're not paying, get off our platform. What's wrong with that? It's called private enterprise. I got no problem with that. I mean, what if they have this horrific pornography on it? Is that okay? No, it's not okay. What if they have a bunch of drug addicts, shooting up all the time? Is that okay? No, that's not okay. Because our kids have access to it. People who are impressionable have access to it. What if they had people screaming at the top of the lungs saying, assassinate this guy and assassinate that guy? Well, they shouldn't do that. Why? What's the standard? You need to have a standard. What should the law be? What does the Constitution say? I just think we've taken this too far because we're not even talking about political speech, which is the most protected of all speech. We do limit speech. We limit speech pornography. We limit speech cigarettes on the air and so we limit speech booze. We limit speech drugs, and I could go on and on and on. There's different types of speech. There's commercial speech, right? There's religious speech. There's political speech. They're babbling buffoons. We see that all over the internet. Most of that is protected too. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the kind of speech that really gets in the head of people who want to do grave damage to other people. Incitement. And I'm not talking about it in an ambiguous way. When you get a guy that talks about killing a senator, oh, I really didn't mean it. Or when you get a guy that says, yeah, I don't know if there was really rape. Can you prove it? And so forth on October 7th. Well, he's allowed to say that. But in the pattern of what this person is saying, what is it that they're trying to do? Have a real discussion? No, he'll say that, but he's not. The overthrow of the country, let me ask you this. Do you think the founders would have put up with this?
Yeah, actually I do. I mean, I'm not someone who holds the founders in some weird lofty position. But yeah, I mean, that was kind of the whole spirit of the First Amendment. I mean, it is weird. He almost does ride this line early in the clip, almost as if he's trying to make the private property argument that many make, which is true. Actually, I agree with that. Like if a private entity, as if those things actually exist when we're talking about these gigantic corporations, but if somehow absent any pressure and some sort of free market condition, they want to limit that people are able to use their product, I have no problem with that. But you do see, as you listen to that clip later, that's not what he's talking about. He starts about, oh, we have laws, we have this, we have that. He starts to try to distinguish between political speech and this speech. And, oh, do you think the founders, like, what do you mean the founders? Like, because I don't know, it is funny. I do find it funny how that swaps from one to the other. And his argument is like, oh, we don't want Nazis and we don't want jihadis. Well, anyone who's paid even the tiniest bit of attention of Mark Levin and his ilk, what do they define as Nazis and jihadis? I mean, he kind of almost starts to kind of say it a little bit there at the end. He kind of almost did a good job of being subtle about it, but there at the end he kind of gave up the goose a little bit, where he dug a little bit into when they make these claims that there weren't rapes on October 7th. Like, now to be fair, I don't know if there were like no rapes, but it doesn't take a whole lot of digging to come to realize the atrocity porn of October 7th was way over the line, and certain claims, specifically those sort of claims, were almost entirely fabricated, like almost entirely. I mean, maybe there are some. I haven't come across a single legit one. Not that I'm someone who's like digging into the minutia of October 7th rape claims, but I have in the past, and I cannot recall ever coming across one that was in any way, shape, or form legit. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, October 7th was horrific. I mean, not cool. You should, like, lots of innocents died. That was very much not cool. But the idea they were like cutting off heads and fucking putting babies in ovens and raping women as they were essentially doing a smash and grab, kill. I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. But he kind of gave it up a little bit there. All right, let's look back over at this clip. I just wanted to, with all of this in mind, kind of, I guess, to finish out, I guess, kind of the statements by Trump and his ilk. Let's circle back around to that one we played for funnies earlier, which we found out was an inappropriate funny. But let's watch this clip over again. I think it's worthwhile checking it out again.
So-called manifesto is a stunning thing to read, Mr. President. He appears to reference a motive in it. He writes this quote, administration officials, they are targets. And he also wrote this, I'm no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I was waiting for you to read that because I knew you would, because you're horrible people, horrible people. Yeah, he did write that. I'm not a rapist. I didn't rape anybody.
But, do you think he was referring to you?
Excuse me. I'm not a pedophile. You read that crap from some sick person. I got associated with all stuff that has nothing to do with me. I was totally exonerated. Your friends on the other side of the plate are the ones that were involved with, let's say, Epstein or other things. But I said to myself, I'll do this interview and they'll probably, I read the manifesto, he's a sick person, but you should be ashamed of yourself reading that because I'm not any of those things.
Mr. President,
and I
these
was
are
never,
the gunman's words.
Excuse me. You shouldn't be reading that on 60 Minutes. You're a disgrace. But go ahead, let's finish the interview.
The other thing that he wrote in
So, okay, him malding that she would dare to read that section of it. I'm not a pedophile. You read that crap from some sick person. I mean, I don't know. We've covered quite a bit of the show. How guilty as sin this motherfucker looks. Kind of comes off to me looking even more like a pedophile. And I don't know, just to remind you guys, here is Howard Lutnick. We've dug quite a bit into this guy quite a few times. Here's one of the Epstein files that came a while back. Here's him on Little St. James with a crew of his homies, him and Jeffrey Epstein in tow and a few other folks. And you can tell, it looks like they're hanging out right next to the temple. You can kind of tell if you look at the picture and you compare that to some of the shrubbery nearby. It looks like they're hanging out just outside the temple. After blood libeling, you know what I mean? So Howard Lutnick, which keep in mind, this is the guy who came out a while back with this crazy story about like how I knew the first time I met Epstein is the last time. And he came out and he said, do you want a massage? And I was like, what kind of massage? And it was this whole big weird show, and then come to find out that was entirely bullshit. And he had this moral moment where and I looked at my wife and we said, we're never going to have anything to do with that sick fuck. And lo and behold, that was completely and utterly bullshit when the Epstein files dropped. He has met with him multiple times. I believe Epstein procured a nanny from him. He had met with him at the island. Here is him at the island once again. Just lie. I mean, Lutnick too is Lucky Lutnick. He's the one who, what was the name of it? Was it Cantor Fitzgerald? Was it that one or is that his newest one? But either way, I know he managed to magically escape the death and destruction of 9/11 because he was in that building. So yeah, just lucky. Took his kid to school for I think the first time ever. Just so happened that day. Made a lot of money off that. He's also made a lot of money off the tariff program that now his sons are raking in plenty of money off of the essentially those being ruled as unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. So his kids had a scheme that essentially they would buy up the liability and so that they would pay those people money initially expecting to get a return or something like that. So that's that guy. That super duper, also lived next to Jeffrey Epstein. I believe if you get into the weeds of how the property acquisitions go, that also brings more things to be concerned about. But after all of these things come to revelation and got asked about it multiple times, just keep in mind Donald Trump says, according to Karen Levitt, full support. He's still part of the administration. So I'm sorry it falls on deaf ears, all this whining and crying, but. I guess speaking of pedophilia, and I don't know, how do we even present this? I guess the legacy of Trump. There was a recent Trump debate. I haven't checked it out. I've only seen the clips. of Andrew Wilson versus who's this guy? Owen Schroyer. Used to be Alex Jones's underling. I think he's doing his own thing now these days. But they had a debate, I guess, over the legacy of Trump. I haven't watched the whole thing, but man, this sure is something, and it is not being received well online. But this definitely ties into pedophilia and the legacy of Trump, and kind of falling on deaf ears. But here's his argument for why it's okay to kill innocents in Iran. It's because they're pedophiles. Wow. Well, not their pedophiles, it's because there's probably a pedophile in their proximity or something like that, and who may also perhaps happen to die. But let's watch this.
We still have control of it. What did I say? In the future, it'll go down.
We'll
Why?
see. I hope that's the
Speculators
case.
say
I hope that's the
same
case, but that's not the case right now. And Americans are struggling financially, and now here we are in another war in the Middle East, and we're sick of it.
Are you going to blame? Are you going to blame market speculators?
I'm going to blame Trump for getting us into another war on Israel's behalf. Yes, I am going to blame Trump for that. He did that.
So help me out here. Can you tell me all of the downsides of Donald Trump killing pedophiles in the Middle East?
First of all, do you know every single person? Were those schoolgirls pedophiles?
It's institutionalized in the Iranian
No. Were the 200 schoolgirls pedophiles?
You want to make sure that they're alive so they can get raped? But that aside, no, of course not. But there's going to be deaths inside of a war.
Okay, so it is a war.
Yeah, I didn't say it wasn't a war.
Does he need
I'm not going to
congressional
quibble
approval?
over the word, even though there's no ground invasion, there's no boots on the ground, there's none of that. I just want to know, how is the global interest served? You're so concerned about pedophiles. He killed one of the most major ones who's ever existed since the late 1970s.
Well, he was friends with Epstein.
He put it
He was
inside
probably
of the
bigger, but-
Constitution of Iran that you can marry 9-year-old girls, dude. And by the way, Khomeini,
That's good.
Khomeini,
So-
hang on, almost done. Khomeini was married to a 15-year-old. Perhaps by the lunar cycle could have been 14. His son was married to a 14 or 15-year-old. A lot of his high command were married to children as well. Trump killed all of them without a single boot on the ground.
Great. And I'm sure after we've killed thousands of Iranians, including young schoolgirls and the entire family, I'm sure that the Iranians are going to be less radicalized because of that. So I'm not
radicalized. What do you mean? How do you get more radicalized than marrying children, dude?
What do you think they're going to stop?
What are you talking about?
You think they're going to stop?
No. Well, I'm just saying. How do you get more radical? You're like, oh, the Iranians are going to get more radicalized.
All right, now we could go here and wax poetic about all of this. Obviously, I don't think it's okay to murder children just because there may so happen to be someone who could possibly be a pedophile in their vicinity who may also die. No, that's still murder. So yeah, don't know what to make. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people are raking this guy over the coals, as well they should. Maybe I'll check out the full debate later. Maybe I'll realize, oh, this was somehow out of context. But really, at the end of the day, all you've ever really need to know about this guy is that he couldn't open a fucking pickle jar. I mean, I know it seems reductive, it seems a little immature, but it's legit. Here's proof of it. DL Cummings, thanks for dropping the receipts here. For those who aren't aware, when it comes to this guy, what's his name again? I can't even remember his name. It's Andrew Wilson, I think. Yeah, Andrew Wilson. Here you go. He's the guy who debates OnlyFans horrors on that whatever podcast or whatever. And yeah, let's watch this. And props to him. I do think he did kind of ream the fuck out of Dave Smith when he had him on, to be honest. I mean, he was kind of being a petty asshole, but I mean, that's what you signed up for. But anyways, let's watch this. There's a little clip of the whole jar incident, which I do think is a perfectly fine thing to write a man off as, an able-bodied, generally prime of your life man. If you're I don't know, 15 to 55. And you can't open a jar, yeah, I'm going, and there's not some crazy disability or some sort of weird something or other. Yeah, your opinion is disregarded. But let's watch this. It's got music to it. Sorry, I was hoping it'd be a better clip, but for the audio people, not great. But you can see this is one of these chicks. The fucking I remember watching this clip forever ago. You could see her here. I don't remember what she was, how they got to the point of opening jars or some shit. And he had talked mad shit to her, kind of being an asshole. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not I'm trying to white knight for whoever this broad is, but it did kind of feel a little bit like this is kind of what you get for being a douchebag. But yeah, he goes to try to open this fucking pickle jar and can't. So you guys can see it. Sorry for the audio people. He's even trying to do the shirt trick. Still not working. His argument was it was wet or something. Now they're showing chicks on fucking MasterChef. Oh no, it's a dad thing. So there you go.
Literally.
So there you go. See that dad? You see how I did that? That is how any man should be able to pull that off. Like any fucking jar. Like any jar.
Literally.
Like I cannot recall the last time I struggled with a jar as an adult male. I'm sorry. Your opinion disregarded. We don't need to do all this debating and like, oh, this or that. Like, no, I will not debate. Like, if I ever were to debate Andrew Wilson, it would be like if we did a live debate, it'd be Andrew. Look under your podium. There's a pickle jar. Prove to me you were worth talking to. All right. Anyways, moving on. I can't let that go. Oh, there is somebody. I almost want to engage. I saw somebody who's getting like a crazy argument about whether this is legit or not. Says even the captions and circulating video prove that. All right, whatever. I'm not going to get caught up in this. I've watched the original clip. The motherfucker could not open the pickle jar. He even it was quite embarrassing. It was so. I mean, I don't know what this guy's arguing that there wasn't. You literally saw him trying to open the pickle jar. I don't know if he's trying to be funny or whatever. But moving on. These sort of people will have you believe that what we need now is a ballroom. That'll fix all these problems. By the way, I will apologize. I know this broad that I'm about to play is the worst, but hey, sometimes even shitty people have good bring up some good ideas. This is Ashley St. Clair. Let's check out what she has to say about all these influencers and in the ballroom. It seems like how they're all perfectly on step in what like would be the thing no one would have fucking guessed to be the like obvious conclusion. So let's play this.
So last week I told you guys that all of MAGA is paid and they coordinate their messaging in lockstep via group chats. And what do you know? All of these people came to the conclusion that after they saw what happened at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, their first thought was all independently, Trump needs his ballroom. The statistical likelihood of this happening in a vacuum, if we are to stipulate that these people are not coordinated, the statistical likelihood of this happening, that they all came to the same conclusion, not probable, okay? I think it's also important to know that one of the main group chats in which they coordinate messaging is fight after the attempt on Trump's life in Butler. Okay, and this has the official Trump War Room, members of the administration, including James Blair, and all your favorite MAGA influencers. And I would log on and show you more of these messages, but I can't log on to Twitter because they're suing me for $75,000.
Her lips are getting ridiculously big, but anyways, she's right though. She is right, but I mean it's not that surprising. I mean, yeah, these people socialize as well. They get in group chats, so it totally makes sense to some degree. They would have unified messaging, but still, what a weird conclusion to come to is that you know what we really need is the ballroom. So whatever, I'll humor this. Let's take a little bit into it. Here's Black Eye, one of the followers of the show. Tag me in this as a subtle little reminder to you guys. You guys can be producers to help the show along. Just tag me and stuff online, and you guys kind of bring my attention to different stuff, and you guys help me along. That way I don't have to waste a ton of time on Twitter searching for information. If you find something that seems appropriate for the show, just tag me. But sharing this from the Constitutionalist says not the ballroom, but the urgency for which it should be built should terrify you. The ballroom underneath will house the most advanced, secure military bunker/complex system in history to include medical facilities, a hospital, and biodefense system. It features missile-resistant and blast-proof structures, top-secret military applications to protect from drone swarms, hypersonic threats, and other modern attacks. These details were exposed in the lawsuit. It dwarfs the White House. The ballroom, the opulent shed that sits on top, was halted by court order, not the bunker system. So why the sudden urgency? Rand Paul even flipped the switch, which is weird. Rand Paul has been posting about it. which is just weird. So yeah, everyone seems to be on message that we need a bunker room, a ballroom, which still feels like a very weird, like jump to type conclusion, but whatever. I guess this is here's a little diagram, I guess, that people are surmising is going to look like 90,000 square foot ballroom. You can see it does dwarf the White House. You see the main White House, so it's bigger than the White House. I don't know what to make of this. It does seem weird. A lot of people brought up that, this seems ridiculous that perhaps maybe we got some sort of false flag just to get a ballroom, but this is a ridiculous administration. I don't know. It is weird because the thing with the ballroom is it was literally halted by a court order, from my understanding. And so, I guess from my understanding too, is that with this recent attack, they were able to use some sort of reasoning or legal justification for continuing it because of that. It became some sort of security thing or something. So weird. It's weird how things work. I really don't know what to make of the ballroom thing. A lot of people have some wild theories. Maybe we'll come back to this some other time. Speaking of wild theories, here's Jason Rink summing up one of the wildest ones when it comes to this assassination stuff. So it says, B. Henry Martinez, participate in the summer undergraduate research fellowship at NASA's Jet Propulsionary Laboratory in 2014 with Cole Allen. Join X in December 2023. Follow no one. Upload background image from timemachine.eu that vaguely resembles an iconic Trump assassination attempt photo that won't happen for another 7 months. Upload Pepe profile pic holding glass of champagne. Tweet 2 words, Cole Allen, log off, wait more than 2 years, get 20 million impressions and 10,000 followers in 12 hours. So what they're referring to here is this Henry Martinez character. He only has one tweet that says Cole Allen. And this is a guy that apparently, if you do dig into the weeds here, some receipts, apparently he was at some research fellowship, some NASA. Like I said, I'm by no means swearing to any of this, but this is what the internet's out there saying. And I guess his banner photo, see if I can find it if it shows it in here. If you see this banner, here's a good example of it. Here's his little banner photo on his Twitter. You can see right here this weird little, light show, looks like, when you pushed on the screen when you were a kid or whatever, way too hard. And a lot of people have pointed out that let me see. This shows a little bit better. You can kind of see, there's little videos people have shown the transition, but here on the right, you can see kind of blending in, how a lot of people have pointed out that it kind of looks like, basically the Butler shooting, like the thumbnail of this show that you're watching right now is that this is some weird, what was those weird little books we read when we were kids, like the Hidden Eye or Hidden whatever, where you cross your eyes and weird things would come out. It's almost kind of like that. Now, I don't know what to make of that. Maybe the internet's reaching, but it is still weird. I will give it weird. But maybe it's not that crazy. I'm a Luddite, so at first I go, holy shit, but then I always just have to assume maybe I'm just retarded. I try not to get wowed with highfalutin tech stuff. I just go, whoa, maybe I'm retarded, back up. Well, here's David Puente, who's giving some argument to perhaps maybe I am retarded, maybe we're all being a little retarded, maybe this is some sort of scam. I don't know. I haven't dug into this yet, but it says this technique is well known. Create account, set the profile to private with hidden posts, write posts with names or events, for example, like the date of the Pope's death. If the event happens, you delete everything else and leave only the matching one. 5, make the profile public. 6, the profile goes viral and gains followers. He goes, how many posts does the user have? Just one, the one with the name. And then they're showing the picture of this. They show the date it was made, his name, a bunch of numbers, which I know even this still seems kind of weak. It says searching for Henry Martinez and whatever. You can find quite a bit of stuff. I don't know what to make of that. I guess this is some crypto stuff. So I guess there's some crypto information that can be gleaned from all this for those who want to dig into that. He says, for all those who calculate probabilities to blow everything out of proportion, to make something like this work, I would use names that might circulate for some reason. So I guess his argument here would be like Cole Allen, it's kind of a general name. This still seems pretty retarded to me, to be honest. This seems pretty far-fetched. He says, I would use names that might circulate for some reason. What could be useful? The names of actors who sooner or later will be linked to an event, crime, murder, drugs, etc. Cole Allen is the name of an actor who has appeared in films with Jim Carrey. So, okay, I guess this is also an actor. So here's actually, I guess, so to their argument, I guess that there's other people this name. Here's some actor, he's been in movies with Jim Carrey. Here's a guy. So maybe it could have been something like that. It says, now this account created in December 2025 has posted a similar post, but using the name Gavin Newsom, that is the governor of California. So, okay, here you go. Actually, to this guy's point, maybe he has something. He's literally made other accounts like this. There's another Henry Martinez with a bunch of names, numbers, whatever. This one was made in December 2025. Same exact profile pic, same exact cover photo. But this one says Gavin Newsom. So, I mean, maybe this is some sort of weird scam. Maybe it's an AI thing where people can have AI make accounts. It says, then there is this other one, account created in 2022, had not been active since summer 2025. In one post, it shares the one labeled Colin Allen and writes, why are you using my account? Please delete this post ASAP. Otherwise, I will file a complaint in a legal court. I don't know what to make of that one. That one's weird. All right, let's move on. Okay, so maybe there's something to, like, there's never mind. Here's more. Here's another one. Let me see. Let's look into this one. Here's some other back and forth. Okay. Okay, and now we're getting a little too in the weeds, but okay. Whatever. Maybe this got something for some people out there that hadn't considered perhaps this could be some weird scam. Because I've been on Twitter long enough where there's something to this. There have been these weird, every now and then some event will happen, and then you'll find some weird account that's somehow one weird way attached to some event. You'd be like, oh my God, they can't believe there's this. So maybe there's some weird scam that tech nerds have going out there. I don't really understand what the purpose of that would be, because it's not like you're going to get monetized and then make tons of money. But there was the one that was what was her name? Karina Shuliak, the last ex of Epstein. There was an account that clearly ended up being like I may have talked about it forever ago, but it clearly ended up being some sort of crypto scam after it built up speed. So there might be something to that as well. So it came out and it was making some posts that really did seem to, made it seem like it knew what it was doing, and it played, and it did some weirdness with the date as well, because that's the thing. A lot of people point out with this one is it came out in like December 2023. Same thing with that one, with the previous Karina Shuliak one. It was like post dated, so a lot of people are like, oh, there's no way this is fake because this is from before. I guess there's a way to fudge that. I don't know, because like you can't just change the names without like losing your blue check, and that was part of the whatever there. But I guess there was some workaround. So point being, I guess this is a thing that happens sometimes. Also, there's a photo of Cole Allen in an IDF shirt that people have pointed out. Here is him in an Instagram post wearing an IDF sweatshirt before his profile was removed. And once again, maybe this will get community noted later, maybe be bullshit, but I've seen this one shared around a bunch. I have not seen community notes. I have not seen anything legitimately disputing this. This is from December 20. Oh, never mind. That's the weird Martinez post right here. But yeah, this is a picture of him from his Instagram, supposedly before his profile was removed. So weird. Weird. All right, let's roll the chat. That's all we got on that. Let's go through the chat, and then I don't know. Maybe I can squeeze in some. I do got to get out of here real quick, but maybe after then we can squeeze in a little bit of Silva Baker. Actually, I don't have time. I really only have like 10 minutes. I may have to cut the debate recap stuff. So I hope there's some like angry person who's been sitting here for an hour and 48 minutes, like waiting to like argue with me about it, because there were a lot of people mad in the comments. So I'm interested to see what you guys think about it. Feel free to contribute. But let's roll the chat, I guess, one more time. And I really do not have time to go through it. I really am running up against the heart out here. So sorry, guys. Let's roll the chat. Say some more good mornings. Good morning, Mr. Wokereich. It says Tower Gang reunion episode for Tyler, please. I guess open to the idea. I'd have to be asked. DM815, Big Flumpy in the house. Well, hello. Good morning, Big Flumpy. Good morning, Cat's Main Tank Live. Says Hava Nagila begins to play off in the distance. Good morning, Tower Gang NPC. Good morning, Mustache. Good morning. Obama joked about drone striking the Jonas Brothers at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Okay. Good morning, Andre Chevrier says Obama joked about birther movement, about firing Gary Busey, as these are the kind of decisions that keep me up at night. Andrew says, Jose, do you have any thoughts on Allen claiming he used buckshot instead of slugs to limit penetration through walls, causing unintentional casualties? Yeah, that sounds like some weird like FUD shit, but I mean, he wasn't like a firearms expert, so that is like kind of what a normie would probably think. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's that unbelievable. What else we got? Good morning, Real John Doe. Good morning. Good morning. Cash wasn't targeted because Browns unite. I mean, he did really get into that intersectionality nonsense in there, so there might be something to that, actually. That he may. I mean, of all those people, I think Cash is like the only brownie in there. So, like, maybe it really was like, well, I can't be killing an Indian. Okay. What else we got? Good morning, Emery Lawrence. Good morning. Good morning. Andrew says your anti-violence argument is 100% right. The state will always own that realm. The best you can ever do as a revolutionary is to not do violence yourself, but to turn the state. And I'm not even necessarily like, if it's self-defensive or it's like literally self-defense, like even then it might not be pragmatic at times. But I mean, there are theoretical situations where like you could band up and create like to where you can defend yourself against the state. But like to go in any sort of offensive action like so, yeah, it's not gonna help. It's not gonna work to your case. Let me see. Who else we got in here? Good morning, Martin Mac. I don't know if I said... oh, yeah, you said you just now got here, just got the notification. Oh, well, good morning, Dumpies. Good morning to you. Good morning, good morning. The Baal room, B-A-A-L room's not going to build itself, Jose. Yes, for sure. Let me see. Who else we got in here? LTD says, I've only seen Wilson in that Dave Smith debate. Seeing him from the side for the first time, it's so much funnier that he's a fatty. Yeah, he's a bit of a fatty. Good morning, Afaharas. I don't know. Hi from the Netherlands. That explains the odd name. Hi, pleasure to have you here. It's always good to see a global audience around. So hi to you. Good morning. Good morning. Tom33 says, jars are meant to be openable by housewives. Yeah, like this should be a hard accomplishment for a housewife, but like that's like a solid housewife. Like if you shouldn't even be talking about in the realm of man, like it just should be assumed. Yes, Free Alley says, I love the jar theory of manhood. Everyone wants to be the pickle jar hero. Like, but it's such a low bar. It's like when these things are like when you're like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, you're like, oh my God, one day I'll be able to be cool like that. And just pop that motherfucker. And then like right around like, I don't know, 10, 11, 12, 13, you're like, pop, and you're like, holy fucking shit, I got it. I mean, you really got to work for it at that point, but it becomes a nothing. It's a nothing at that point. But, good morning, Oxtail. What's up? What's up? Good to see you here. Good morning. Good morning. Magic Eye. That's the magazine. Magic Eye. You cross-eyed like a weirdo. Oxtail says, what do you think of the flooding the zone strategy? Does it push you to learn more, even though there's so much, or pull back until it hits the mainstream? It's hard for me personally to digest news. Yeah, I mean, that's part of why I love this show, because that's what we're doing here. Like, the zone is flooded, so that's why we're wading in these fucking waters, baby boy. But yeah, it is flooded. It is big time flooded. But I think they underestimated the sort of retards out there in the world like me, and that's big time why we got that sort of commentary of like, oh no, they can't be saying the mean things anymore. And that's because there's a whole bunch of retards just like me out there in the world that are doing regular shows like this, and so they're able to kind of get into the minutia of all this stuff to where you kind of can't get flooded because we're such good goddamn fucking swimmers. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's I guess it maybe do get a little lost in the sauce sometimes though. So I don't know. There's some push and pull there. Does it push me to learn more? Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, I can totally get from like a person who doesn't like do a regular show or something. It is overwhelming. It is a lot. It's a lot to keep up with. They really do flood the zone. There's just so much to all of this. And so much going on every day. I mean, as we're all focusing on this Trump administration stuff, we're literally like, gas is still like around like what, $4.20 in most places. So things aren't great yet. Everyone's like, whatever this weird fucking whatever happened there. I don't know. I'm open to it being legit, but And now we can't call the president a pedophile. Sorry, can't call a spade a spade. All right, guys, let's get out of here. Sorry, I had to cut off the Silva Baker Rumble recap. Just way too much in the assassination side of things. I don't know. Maybe we'll get Ken back on like Friday or something if we do another dump. Because there's actually, I mean, I'd like to talk to him about the assassination stuff. Anyways, get his takes. Plenty to talk about. But sorry if anyone's was expecting that commentary. That's what they're here for. But with that, guys, we're going to get out of here. Leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. You can find the show on YouTube, Rumble, all the major audio podcatchers, and Rumble as well. Did I say Rumble? And Twitter as well. I think I fucked up my little screen there, but whatever. On Twitter, that's @TowerGangJose. Everywhere else, that's No Way Jose. Just look that sucker up. And the low level of $2, if you want to support the show the best way you can do that with that old $2 over at patreon.com/NoWayJose2020 and support the show the best way you can. Here's a QR code if you'd prefer to use that up here in the top left-hand corner. And then there you get access to early episodes. I try to do about 1 to 2 of those per week. Try to give you guys, and try to give about 3 or 4 behind the paywall on a given time. Give you guys access to ad-free RSS feed. Give you guys access to Telegram, the pre-show, the post-show, and video calls. And me and Austin's weekly live call-in show, Already Dead, which is tonight at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Actually, you know what? Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that tonight. I don't know. We'll see if I'll maybe get their takes and kind of the on all that. So. But anyways, also, I give a big shout out to Heisel, my Patreon. It's a big thank you for their support. My previous ghosts and Tower Gang, @Leonard Toad, also at Brigade D's, @ZOVRCK, @_Vizio, Tim Toad, Jol and Klebo, big fan of the show, Torn May, @Wayne Tackis, One Car for Kids, No Free Lunch, Jack, Mark Vestibule, and Jacob, Winter Grad of the Biblical Anarchy Podcast. And with that, guys, I have a fun outro for you guys I think you'll like. A little contentious if anyone's all uppity about not calling the president a pedophile, but I think this audience will very much enjoy it. Here you go, guys. I will see you on the next one. Like I said, we do have Already Dead tonight, so pop in for that. But so far as dumps, I might have another one, I think Friday, maybe Thursday. Actually, never mind. I think just straight up, maybe Friday. So probably get back in the regular swing of things. Like I said, delivering a bunch of kitties, sending them back to their forever homes, or sending them to their forever homes. So I've got other stuff to do, but we'll see you on the next one. I should have another weekly Wolfson for the patrons on Wednesday. We'll drop that for everybody else on Sunday. And then I think I'm doing another Years of Lead on Thursday for the patrons. So plenty more going on. But so far as the public, for the poors, all you're probably going to get the rest of this week is an Already Dead and maybe another dump. But pay up. But I'll see you guys on the next show. Love you all. Bye-bye.
Kosher Rangers. They're talking about the list again. You know what to do.
You got it, Jeff Ron. It's morphin' time.
Assemble the other Rangers.
Kosher Rangers! Kosher Rangers! Kosher Rangers! Mighty Goyim Kosher Rangers! Kosher Rangers! Kosher Rangers!
Hey! Kosher Rangers, the list! The list is trending again! I redacted everything I could! I promise!
Kosher Rangers, you heard Jeff Ron. It's time to summon the mighty Moshaye sword.
What a beautiful dream.
Kosher Rangers!